is Osa Schwab, host and executive producer of Inside Malden, Ideas and Stories That Inspire. I'm delighted to introduce today my guest, Hailey Hao, a native of Chongqing, China, Educational Access Coordinator of MATV, Malden's Media Center. She works with students, teachers, parents, and school administrators to create programming for the channel. Hailey's work with TV production and youth began in China. While studying tourism management at the Sichuan University, she worked for a number of TV shows, some involving kids. Her interest in media eventually led her to leave China for Boston, where she would earn a master's in TV production at Boston University. An award-winning independent filmmaker, Hailey has also worked with organizations like New England Patriots, Harvard Law School, doing videography and editing. This she continues at MATV in the context of her focus on youth-related programming and training. Her experience and presence at MATV provides a red carpet kind of inspiration to the youth in and around Malden.
Ooh, thank you. That sounds so good.
You're welcome, Hailey. It's a delight to have you on this show. I've been looking forward to it for a long time.
Me too. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I want to start, before we delve into your origins, with the red carpet affair, because I think it offers a really interesting metaphor for what we're going to talk about today. And so if you could share a little bit about the origins of the red carpet affair as it connects with the youth programming.
Well, we had this wonderful youth program called Kids Video Adventure, KVA, for many years before I felt like before we had a real good celebration for it. I was at one of the conferences for Access TV, and someone was saying at a workshop that if you create something wonderful that deserves a good celebration, go ahead and do it. Because if you don't make a big deal out of it, nobody will for you. So that's when I had the idea of doing a red carpet, Hollywood-style red carpet premiere for the kids program. Because they work so hard on their videos, and the parents are so curious about what they have been doing with us. They are curious about how the final project comes out. Well, let's get them all together and do a red carpet premiere for them. So we roll down the red carpet, we have the kids dress up like movie stars, and we do interviews with them on the red carpet, just like how Hollywood does it.
Here they come, the movie stars.
And then we show their videos in the auditorium. After that, we have the kids all come up to the stage where we have the Q&A, and the audience gets to ask questions to the stars.
How hot was it that day when you were sweating out there filming?
That's a very good question. Who wants to take that one?
Well, it was it was really hot, and like Amaya said, her back was sweating, so.
Give the focus on these children in a way that creates a memory for them?
Yeah, it's definitely a very fun, energetic, and fancy event that the kids love. So we do it once a year. Usually it's in the fall, and the kids just love it. They put so much thoughts into what they should wear. The parents help them. It's just great to see them come to the red carpet premiere with such pride of their work, and that's what we're going for.
And all the cameras and the paparazzi are going.
Definitely, you can't not have the paparazzi.
Absolutely. So can you tell me just one or two anecdotes of children and how they responded?
Oh yeah, one story that I would never forget, and I see her face every day, because that's just some great feelings that I'm going for to create for the kids. This one little girl who I don't even know, because she wasn't in the program. So I think she was just one of the friends of the kids who were in the program. So she came in, she walked down the red carpet, and then all of a sudden she does this to the camera. She goes, oh, I am a movie star. I am on TV. So I actually didn't see this happen at the event. I saw it on the footage when we were editing it. I was like, oh my God, that's that kind of feeling, that kind of special, the importance that they feel about themselves, is what we are trying to create for them. So it's just so wonderful to see.
And that must play into some philosophy or approach or vision that you have for how to empower and inspire youth.
Well, I think in general, good things in life deserves a good celebration. A nice trip, a nice, your birthday, your anniversary, all these things. But outside of the ordinary stuff that we celebrate, you can always create celebrations to sort of, capture or even bring your experience to another level. I feel like, for example, I make short videos with my friends, sometimes just for fun, like a weekend project. For example, we went to Park City for a skiing trip, which was my first time to go to the West to ski, and it was just like so fun. There were 10 of us. And afterwards, people uploaded their pictures and videos to one location, and I was inspired enough to put it together as a short video to remember our wonderful trip by.
Can you dig it? Who's the cat that walk about when there's treasure all about?
But instead of just sharing the video to everyone on social media or email, I decided to do a screening party. Of course, I invited everyone, had food and nice music, and we all said things about our trip, about our friendship. I think one thing about these celebrations is it provides people an opportunity to express how they feel about each other. I feel like until these words are said to one another, it would not have that impact of in this case, the friendship. So we did that, which was really fun. I think that provides such a great closure and good celebration to our trips.
And strengthens the bonds.
Totally, yeah. And it actually, one funny thing happened was I was joking about, okay, if you enjoyed this video, we are thinking about taking other skiing trips, so I am taking donations. Totally as a joke, of course,
and
for a bigger production next year. I got $12.
Oh my God.
I know. I don't even know who did it. It was a $10 bill and 2 ones left on my counter.
That is too
and I was
funny.
like, I still don't know who did it, but it was just like so funny that, people, if we didn't have this, we wouldn't have this bond,
Exactly. So now I want to backtrack a little bit, and can you share some memory as a child growing up in Chongqing of some imaginings of what your future might be?
I was always a good student. I was a typical good girl, liked by, my goal was to be liked by everybody, and I think achieved quite a bit about that. I have a lot of friends at school. I feel like classmates liked me, the teachers liked me, because I was well behaved, I did my homework and, I did all the right things.
Okay.
But I can remember something special about me was that even from a very young age, all that I wanted to have for life is happiness. Like, from a very young age, I don't know, 8 or 9. And I always think, my life goal is to be happy. I mean, what else is more important than happiness? So I always had that.
Okay. Did you have a sense of how that might be achieved?
No, I think that's the part that you need to figure out. You need
Right.
to sort of find out about yourself what brings that happiness,
Right.
what is happiness to you. But I was very clear about the goal.
The
You know,
goal was
I want
there.
to be happy.
So then, going forward a little bit in your life, you studied travel and tourism
Yeah, that was
management.
just funny. It was not really intentional. I have always been fascinated by journalism and
Okay.
TV media, that sort of thing, because actually my dad worked at a TV, not a TV station, but it's more like a network
I see.
of TV and radio. So I grew up in that sort of environment, and my dad would always get me like tapes that tell stories, so I was like, I feel like I was developing language-wise to suit for that career. So anyway, my goal was to get into one of the best journalism programs in China. It's Sichuan University. But I didn't do so well in the test, which I was like very unhappy with.
Oh, boy.
So after that, I was like, oh yeah, I don't care, just pick something for me. So we picked the Chengdu Sichuan University, which was very close to my hometown, and my
Okay.
cousin was in that city. So it's like a 5-hour drive from my hometown. So that's how I got into tourism management. Like I was never in my plan.
That was not your direction. So, but meanwhile, something was percolating. You had some experiences with TV shows and so
Right.
forth, and your interest in media kind of grew.
Right. So although I was in the tourism program, I was always doing other stuff.
Right.
I've always been like that, pretty active outside of my main whatever you call it. So I was at the time going to the American consulate near my university because they have workshops, they have cultural programs, there. So at one of these workshops that I went to, they were asking the audience to ask questions about something. I don't even remember. And I asked a question, and a TV producer was at the event. So she saw me asking the question, and she asked me to go for an audition to be on her show, to host her show,
my
actually to
goodness.
be the producer of her show.
Oh my goodness.
Which was a bilingual TV program. So it was about foreigners' lives in Chengdu at the time. How were they doing? But the producer was located in New York, and she was filming Chinese people's life in New York. So that
how
was what the show was
interesting.
about. So I just felt so lucky. It's not my major. It's not, I was never trained to be on TV, but like that, I got this opportunity to be involved in that show.
That's incredible.
Which made me realize, my passion was really in media, TV, and all that stuff. So I applied for the master program of TV production at Boston University, and luckily I got in. So here I am.
Here you
in
are.
Boston.
So tell me then your impressions as you leave China, your home, your family, place that is comfortable to you, and you enter the city of Boston and begin school. What were your initial impressions?
I remember I wrote in my journal at the time that I was so disappointed when I got to Boston, because in my mind, Boston is a big city,
Right.
so I was expecting to see high skyscrapers, like the modern city, busy, lots of people, energy, all that stuff.
More
I didn't
like
see
New
any
York.
of that. I was like, oh my God, these infrastructures mostly. The subway, so old,
Right.
old, it's so old that stuff that we don't even see in China anymore. Like the
Interesting.
AC, you know, people use window
Air conditioning, right?
units. Like, we don't use that in China.
Oh my goodness.
At all. And well, we
Interesting.
started using that, but then we upgraded to something that's quieter and better and more modern, but we're still using window AC units here. So stuff like that, it was just different from what I was imagining.
Right.
I
see.
guess Chinese people's impression of a country or, you know, anything, a lot of times is from movies, especially America. It's about,
Makes
you know,
sense.
Hollywood movies, which in which you see all these like great landscape city views and stuff. So I thought that's what I was going to. And I grew up in the city. Chongqing is the big city. So I was very used to city life. So I was expecting to see more of a, you know, city. And I remember actually about Malden. After I got the job, we moved to Malden for the first time, and I was talking to my...
That was 2008?
Yes,
Yes,
when I got the
okay.
job. So I was like, just saying to my husband, I was like, oh, Malden, honey, we're in the middle of nowhere. What am I gonna do here? You know, like Peter was like, in the middle of nowhere? Malden is considered to be a city. It's on the subway, you know, it's like on the T. It's so close. People complain about too busy here, you know, like too many people. I'm like, I don't see anything.
That is so funny. It's all in the perspective where it's a continuum of cities.
It's just a matter of like what you're used to,
right.
what your expectations are,
Right.
that sort of thing.
So I know that just shortly after your graduation, you made a movie, and that was a really interesting movie. And I'd like you to talk to me about that a little bit, and because it sort of captures some of the contrast within and without.
It was my thesis project, so it was for
okay,
this
okay.
school.
And the title was.
So I guess it catches your attention right
It
there.
sure does.
Which is what a title should do.
It should do that.
The title
yes.
was suggested by my professor.
Okay.
So we were, you know, talking about what I can do as a documentary. So the project was a 23-minute short documentary about my experience of getting a tattoo on my butt.
Everybody in America has at least one tattoo, I would say.
Okay,
So
that's the first of that type of. I've never heard of a thesis being something on that topic.
Yeah, well, it being different is
I
good,
like it, though. I
especially
like
when it comes to, you know, videos and media stuff. You know, you want to get people's attention, so they want to watch it.
Absolutely.
And if you can keep their attention or not, that's a second step. So it was through my experience of getting this tattoo to explore the differences between American culture and Chinese cultures about people's opinions on tattoo.
Reasons at the time is I was living in Northern California. I was very interested in wildlife, and I just really had an affinity for wolves.
One was done also in Thailand. This was done in Montreal, Canada.
There was a name there before, Jimmy, someone that I was dating when I was taking nursing courses. It stayed for about 10 years. It stayed longer than 10 years. I think I did it when I was 18.
Which I thought was a good way to you know, tie all these things into, you know. So personal stories usually are very interesting to the audience. So through that, if you explore all these things that you want to say and to observe, I felt it was a good way.
I believe getting a tattoo is going to be the most permanent commitment I've ever made in my life. I hope it's a good one.
I think unique is the key to having a cool tattoo.
I wouldn't put a name there.
Try to pretend you're 85.
It was like a massage getting this one.
very, because I was very high. So take a lot of acid when you go and get a tattoo because it takes all the pain away.
So half was shot in Boston.
Okay.
I was on Newbury Street, P-Town, all over the place. I interviewed a lot of my friends and strangers in the street, on Newbury Street, P-Town, and also half was shot in China. So I was doing interviews.
And
in
what were
China
you
as well.
asking them?
So I was asking them their general ideas of tattoos. What
I
do
see.
they think about tattoos?
Okay.
That's at the very beginning. And then I shifted to telling them what my idea is
Okay.
and to see what their reactions to that.
The idea being the kind of a tattoo and where it's going to be.
Well, it's exactly what it says.
Oh, I see.
I guess the suspense was like you wouldn't see what my tattoo is in the very end. So you hear all these people's reactions. So it's kind of like, what do you think about
Interesting.
my idea? And they'll say, ooh, I've never heard of that. What do you think?
That's very good.
It's nothing to be ashamed of. That's nothing you'll have to get rid of.
On your butt.
Yeah? You like it?
I have to see it first.
What?
The words.
In English or Chinese or?
No, I've been around 40 years now, and I've never seen anything like that.
What do you think? You know, so you hear these things before, but you still don't know what it is until the very end.
That is really good.
Well, thank you. I'm proud of it. I thought it was a pretty interesting project. I learned a lot about tattoos and about the both cultures, and I did get a tattoo. So that was not staged. I actually got one.
Real journey. But what were some of the insights that you gleaned and presented through the movie about the differences in culture?
Well, what I found out about that is actually it's pretty similar, the two cultures' views
regarding
about
tattoos.
Yeah, so the younger people, younger generation are a lot more open-minded to it. The older generation is, you know, and most people are okay with one or two small ones rather than, you know, covered in tattoos. That's not what I did on my butt. I got a reasonably sized, nice designed tattoo, which actually says a lot about my identity.
Yeah. Oh, really?
So it wasn't just randomly picked tattoo. And I actually had a problem with that, how people were saying, oh, we just went to the tattoo shop and we look at the designs and was, oh, that one looks good to me. I needed something, because it's permanently on you.
Yes.
I needed something that is meaningful and personal and important to me. So can I say what I got?
Absolutely.
Oh, these people are not going to watch my tattoo movie now. Like, they're finding out what it says.
Don't you want them to be in suspense?
Well, for this show, I think I should say it says "Made in China."
That is brilliant. That is so brilliant. I had no idea.
It has the Chinese writing of, you know, "Made in China" on it, and it has a barcode.
Oh,
it has a stamp on it.
Seriously?
Stamp on it with my, you know, where I was born and my birthday.
A product made in 1980 was just imported from Chongqing to Boston. Stamped, Made in China, Chongqing, October the 5th, 1980.
It was a product made in China and got shipped to America.
That is really, okay, so that's such a perfect segue to, I really want to understand, so you were made in China, but your road is an emergent road. So like who you are becoming is emerging, and even more so it seems from the point of time where you moved to the US. And tell me a little bit about how being here as an immigrant and you know, adapting to the culture here is shifting who you are becoming, or working with the contrasts of your cultural background and so forth.
Right. So, I mean, first of all, I want to say I would not have gotten that tattoo made in China if I never left China. It took leaving China for me to realize that identity about me that's important to me. And I even didn't know that was one of my identities that I would cherish or whatever, find important to me until I leave it. Wow. So it's kind of like it takes leaving your surroundings, your culture, to the outside, and then you get a chance to look back on it, and you realize, oh my God, that's me. That's what sets me apart from the other people. So it took me to leave China, coming to America, and see how American people are to realize my Chinese traits. You know, like if you were just in China for your whole life, everyone around you are mostly different to you, are mostly similar to you in terms of culture. Culture. You would not really understand what that identity is. Right. So I came here and I realized, oh, gee, that's kind of cool that I'm a Chinese. You know. And a lot of, I have to say though, like before I came to America, I discovered that I like American culture a lot. That's why I decided to come here. I had a lot of
media and
pop culture, through hanging out with a lot of foreign students.
Oh, I see.
In universities. So I had friends who came from Europe, Australia, you know, Japan, America, you know, and I realized I feel most comfortable and connected to the American culture. And that's why I decided, well, if I'm leaving China, I'm not going to any other countries except for America.
And what is the essence that you were attracted to?
I think it is, my understanding about American culture is that the foundation of this culture is individualism and independence, which are two major things that's, you know, important to me, that really speak to me. That's maybe lacking a little bit in China as well. So I feel like more free in this culture almost.
And in as far as I understand, in China, there's more of a community focus and a more loyalty to your community, for example, your family and maybe the town you live in and that kind of thing.
Absolutely. I think the the Chinese culture is all about the group that you're in.
I see. And how you fit into that group and how you serve that group.
Sometimes you have to, it emphasizes on how you should sacrifice your personal interests or whatever to do things good for the group.
Right.
So I feel like the American culture is the opposite.
Right.
You have to do things for yourself, be special and be independent, and then you can better serve your community. So it's kind of like backwards.
That is very interesting. So now that you happen to be working in a city that is growing in its Asian population, how interesting that you and your experience can bring that insight into what you do here at MATV. I'm curious if, I imagine that you've had some conflicts with these two different sides of approaching life, individual versus community. And I'm curious what you see as you work with youth in Malden and Malden in general, how you see, what's the potential there through that conflict?
I think life is, with everything, is about finding a good balance. Because everything has two sides, you know. Yeah. Everyone is different, so even if you're at different stage of your life, you're balancing one area would be different.
Right.
So it is always interesting to me to find that balance at any given time. In this case, the American culture and Chinese culture. I really appreciate and cherish both in me. I feel like both are doing a lot of things in me that makes me, you know, different or special. And through my work here with youth, a lot of times we have Asian students who immigrant to this country from China, which I can really relate to. You know, I remember when I was at BU, it was very frustrating and sometimes, you know, sad that it's hard to fit in. You know, when your class break into a groups to do projects, you know, it's almost like, which group do I go to? Right. And you see this thing, at least it's my observation, is that the international students always form one group, and the Americans do.
Yes.
So the international students not necessarily are students from one country. So you would have, you know, Japanese students, Chinese students, or, you know, from other cultures forming one group.
Oh my goodness, that is, yes.
I just noticed that. So it's like frustrating to not be able to sort of be the leader of a group. You know, when I was in China, I was always the top students, liked by students, the teachers, and I felt like people come to me. You know, I didn't have to look for a group to be in.
Right.
People just asked me if, you know, we can do something together. But here I feel like I had to like find my place, which is very unsettling, I guess, as
I can imagine.
a student.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of students, Asian students, at least some of them that I work with, have that struggle, have that difficulty in a class setting. You know, like they come across as not very confident.
Right.
They're very shy. But I have to say, they have so much more to offer because I know that. I went through the journey to realize, at the beginning, I was like, well, I couldn't even understand what they're saying.
The language.
The language
yes.
barrier is the first stop. I mean, like, why would anyone, if I were looking for a job, why would anyone hire me over the native speakers? Like, that language barrier became the very first thing that I questioned about myself. But once you pass that, you realize I have like this whole culture and country behind me that I'm not even using to compete in this country, which is really special. You know, like I think it's a journey for the students to develop their confidence, to realize their values, and to go out there and get it. And I enjoy being a part of that journey with them, and I try to give them encouragement and you know, like that sort of thing.
That's incredible. What, sort of as a final question, what do you hope your work at MATV can do for this city?
I think we do very good things here. And I feel like MATV does really wonderful things for the community as a whole. And me being a part of it, mostly just working with youth, you know, providing them an opportunity to explore, to learn, to build confidence, to go into their future with more skills, more confidence, more understanding of themselves, to you know, have a good life. And I feel very honored to be a part of that, and that's certainly what I tried to do here.
Well, I'd like to end with a little toast.
Oh.
And I want to toast to your journey along the red carpet of life.
Ooh, thank you.
Yeah. And may you celebrate each step of the way.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hailey. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
I am Osa Schwab. This is Inside Malden, Ideas and Stories that Inspire.